Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Damn. Hey yo. Grüße zurück. Let me just check. Connection. We'll be starting in some time. Give me some more minutes. So, how are y'all doing? All good? Are you fine? Yeah, so I didn't know if I would stream today. That's why I didn't make like a premiere. But yeah. Here we are now. Okay, let me drink something real quick, and then we're watching the making of. Oh boy. Alright, this came out like 3 weeks ago, I think. I made a post that we're going to watch this pretty soon. But yeah, life and stuff. Okay. Can you hear me? Everything's all right? All right. Okay, I think I'm set up. Okay, let's do this. Let me check this real quick. Okay. Let's go. Making of. Number 3, art vision. Let's dive into it. I tried to not spoil myself. It had been kind of hard. I saw some screenshots, but you know, you cannot really avoid that. It is what it is. Okay, let's get into it.
We also decided very early on, we are not making an HD version of the art style of the original. That's not our goal.
Hi guys, how you doing? Anton, how are you?
Yeah, Gothic Remake walks this fine line between being realistic and believable, and also at the same time having this dark fantasy themed inside. No? It should feel believable and realistic in terms of textures and colors and you know, the details on the characters, on the cloth, and on the rocks, and everything. Those opposite forces. And one is leaning more than naturalistic, believable, realistic world. And the other one is leaning designs of creatures and environments and everything to a more fantastical and dark, grim world. It's a real world. It tries to be a real medieval simulation, I would say, but with a twist of dark magic and, you know, weird stuff happening.
Okay, I gotta stop real quick. There's a bunch of stuff that we need to talk about. I think we're watching it, you know, in completion, and then we're going to watch it again, and I'll stop and talk about these things because already, I'm blown away. I'm blown away. That's going to be real hard. Let's continue.
We looked at it from the perspective of the full spectrum of Gothic games done by Piranha Bytes, because these are the canon Gothic games, and these are the ones we need to look at. And I also feel like these are the ones that the fan base liked the most. Like if you look at like a scavenger in Gothic 3, he looks very different than in Gothic 1. In an ideal world, we create an art style that is kind of like not just for one game, but for an entire new series within like the Gothic franchise. So we had like the classic Gothic games. We wanted to make it a realistic art style, so it should not be something that should feel like a fantasy game.
Telekinesis is back on the menu, boys. Oh man, that's so great. Oh, I gotta stop sometimes and talk about it. This is real good. Damn, we just saw a whole bunch of stuff. Great, just great. Let's go.
Sobre todo porque tuvimos que reinterpretar cómo estaba hecho el original y cómo trasladarlo a algo que fuera verosímil y que fuera algo realista. Y al final nos costó mucho encontrar como que el estilo de que queríamos orientar, por ejemplo, las construcciones, cómo iban a ser las casas, cómo iban a ser los puentes colgantes. Entonces, encontrar el estilo nos costó bastante. Una vez que ya lo encontramos, ya fue todo hacia esa dirección, pero hasta que llegamos ahí fue bastante complicado.
Lo más difícil yo creo que ha sido adaptar las ideas originales de los diseños originales, del gótico original, y llevarlos a algo un poco más verosímil, un poco más realista, pero no real, sino simplemente verosímil, y también aportar algo nuestro. Y yo creo que convertir esa idea original en algo de ahora, algo más moderno, pero nuestro también, ha sido lo más complicado.
Even like back then in 2001 and 2002, when Gothic 1 and 2 came out, they were not considered as like new references in terms of graphics. I mean, they had certain things that were really cool and unique, but like nothing that was like, wow, this is like the new benchmark. When I look at the art style of the original from a now perspective, of like from Gothic 1 especially, you look at the look that is like, it's very distinct, but it's like also a child of its time. I mean, it has this low poly look somehow, and it uses, in order to emphasize certain character elements and parts of a model, they use specific techniques. Like, it's not a comical art style, but like, it's something that also is used in the comical world, because also they have like, the panels are only so small, so in order to get a certain emphasis on a specific visual element, you need to make it like unproportionally bigger. So what I want to say with that is like, when looking at the art style now, it's something very specific and very much that had to be done in that time and that technical restriction.
I think the style of the original games is fascinating and perfectly captures an era where the technical limitations force people to enhance their imagination and to come up with
Limitation breeds innovation. This was done back in the day multiple times in different games, and it created very, very iconic worlds, and Gothic obviously being one of them. But there is also, I think I talked about it in a different stream, like Silent Hill, you know. There's only so much megabytes of stuff that you can put on a disc, you know, on the PlayStation. So they were like looking for a way to how can we reduce the game without it feeling being restricted. You know, they came up with the idea of, yeah, let's drench the whole map in heavy fog, and you limit the view distance heavily, but the fog contributes so much to, you know, the overall feel. It's just, you know, it's great. Nowadays you think of Silent Hill and you're like, yeah, it's like the fog, you know, and it, damn. And the same goes for Gothic. I mean, those guys were clever enough to have a similar idea by putting the whole world into this valley and encapsulating it with the magic barrier, right? Yeah. Okay, this is all fine and dandy. I mean, those artworks by Ralph Macinchik, they are great. Oh, it's a small thing. Let me just... Okay, you probably cannot see this, but my niece, she went to some kind of cosplay thing that was like in the next big town, which is Aachen. And it was like a very small comic con. And she actually met Ralph Macinchik. She doesn't know anything about the game, you know. She just knows the name of the game is Gothic, and that I like it, that I do some YouTube about it. So she talked to him, and I got a little autograph, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, thanks again, Emily, my niece. But yeah, I didn't expect this. This was completely cool. If I would have known that, I would have straight headed for this comic con cosplay thing, whatever. Ralph Macinchik's artworks are a great contribution to the art style, to the overall art style. And like I said, I'm a little bit sad that it kind of washed out, that it kind of faded away, because it has this very special atmosphere attached to it. An atmosphere that you can only find in the Valley of Mines. And now, you know, with them going forward and kind of rebooting the whole franchise, I hope that they keep these kind of odd designs, kind of weirdness that was presented to us in the first game, or whatever. Let's continue.
Solutions, and actually pretty smart solutions. However, as an artist, I think that the fact that most interest awakes in me, it's how they progressive change the aesthetics of the game from Gothic 1 to Gothic 2 to Gothic 3.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like from Gothic 1 to Gothic 2, there's a clear shift in tone, in colors, and everything that the game is trying to visually convey. And at the same time, as I told you, I think that the aesthetic of the three games evolved with the time, and they started to, to take decisions to make everything more rounded and more realistic and more believable in terms of how animals should look and how environments should look and the proportions and everything. One of the most interesting parts is when you play Gothic 2 and you discover that all of this dark aesthetic just disappears as the barrier disappears, and now the game outside the colony, outside the barrier, is actually vibrant and full of life. And this changed the mood completely of the game. No? This evolution in the games, I think it's pretty smart for the age, and I think this is something that we should also try to respect at maximum.
When we talk...
I don't know about this, brother. I don't know about this. Like, I get where he's coming from, paying respect to the OG, but I think it is also a big weakness that, well, over the course of the franchise, it declined in certain directions. I mean, I save us the time to talk about the gameplay aspects of Gothic 3, but just from the visuals, they can be nice in Gothic 3. You take a look across Varant, it's nice. You take a look across the mountains in Nordmar, okay, feels good, but it lost this Gothicness. And I think when rebooting it all, I think you should take a look at the original vision. And the original vision was made by or created by a very different bunch of people, and then it shifted. And it shifted once more. And with Gothic 3, I think they also wanted to appeal to a wider market. And I don't even know what was like the RPG back in the day. It might have been like Oblivion, actually. And if you compare, if you have Oblivion in your mind and everything is so vibrant, you've got the colors, just like he described, and you take a look at Gothic 3, you're like, damn, yeah, they wanted to open up for a market. But I say this is bullshit. I'm sorry. You have your market, you have your diehard fans, you have conquered a niche or a niche, and that's what you should do, right? This is your world, expand on this. So I don't want like the Koreanists to feel like the Valley of Mines. Obviously not, and there should be a different type of atmosphere. But I also think that the themes should be carried over. Well, okay. Let's
about
continue.
People and players perceive Gothic, they're like, well, what you do, I mean, yeah, it looks nice, but it doesn't look like the original. We also decided very early on, we are not making an HD version of the art style of the original. That's not our goal. That could
Slivers, my man, I say hello. How are you?
have been done, of course. I'm not denying that I'm not.
Yeah, I didn't think so too. It was kind of a spontaneous decision. Going more into depth, I don't know, with a separate video. You know my schedule. There's a lot of things to do, and I don't know, covering it live, if it does it justice, we talked about most of the stuff anyways, but just the first 6 minutes, and there's already so much material, man.
I'm not saying which is the better one or the worst one. We wanted to create something that is appealing to both old and new fans.
Ah, that looks nice.
Our main reference is the original Gothic, right? And this is now history of video games. It happened like more than 20 years ago. For us, this is our base camp. But from that starting point, I would say that we use the Baroque. The approach of light, color, the darkness, the aesthetic of the Baroque in all of its stages and all of its eras. I would say that from the early Baroque ages with Caravaggio, chiaroscuro, and the Spanish tenebrism of Velázquez, for example, whose dramatic contrast in interior scenes we share, to the high Baroque landscape painting of Claude Lorraine and Nicolas Poussin, and the color contrast and tonal approach of the Flemish Baroque, as seen in David Tenier's second paintings. And I would say that we also draw from the late Baroque era, with bordering on maybe neoclassicism, I would say, with Hubert Robert and his view on ruins and sunsets. So yeah, definitely I would say that Baroque, in all of its stages, has been the overarching inspiration that has guided our art direction. However, you can also find strong influences from Petrus van Schendel, for example, and his highly atmospheric nocturnal scenes. And Schendel, he was more like kind of a romantic painter. In terms of colors, we try to go.
I gotta stop here right now. Like, he knows his shit. I'm not a big art guy. I know some paintings and I really like them. When we had the references brought up, and I don't know if it was the first or the second Making Off episode, I could really see what he's talking about, and I really like those type of paintings. You know, it's not pure realism. But it has this underlying fantastical element to it, you know, how the light is evolving in those paintings and all that. And in one of my last videos, I was talking a lot about, you know, the eternal golden hour, and we got some glimpses here and there. Obviously, you know, tied to the weather is changing, and that's good, you know, because you had like static weather almost. And Gothic 1. You need to have some variety in that, but I think the approach is really good. Like, I feel that this kind of material, you know, when you hype up a new video game, it kind of gets it's getting pushed to the side in many games, and I really like these insights, how the artists behind the game think and what their references are. And obviously, again, he knows his stuff, and those paintings that he showed, I can totally get what he's saying. And now we talk about colors. Well,
with the Baroque path, I mean, we will have colors, of course, but all of them, they will have some kind of desaturation with a very high contrast. And we're trying to force a little the ochre shades. So everything feels more grounded, more brownish, more greenier, more yellowish, like the original Baroque paintings. And the idea is to create this environment as believable, but it's also dramatic.
So when we started to...
Oh boy, look at that. Oh God. Heavy Templar armor is by all means the best armor in the game. But I wish, once again, those pauldrons would just be a tiny bit bigger. Just a tiny bit. Then they would be perfect. If any modders are listening, please, your first project, make those pauldrons just a tiny bit bigger. Thank you very much in advance. I'll have you on the podcast. What podcast, you might ask? I don't know yet. Let's check the chat. Slivers. I can't wait to play the game. I hope it won't have any major brother. Yes, I'm completely with you. I really hope that we are going to have a very much flowing experience without major issues. But you cannot really avoid that nowadays, can't you? Anton says, especially the depth with all the elements of old artwork and painted canvases, I just find it genius. Yeah, me too. I like when you have those reference points, you know, and it's like, I get what they're saying. And we're talking a little bit about the colors, a little bit. Just when I thought was quite some time since the last video from Vertigo. Heldenloser Name, what up, bro? Yeah, I'm here. I'm still kicking it. When they're going for this color palette, I definitely dig that. See, I saw many comments on the Discord and under my videos, and they're like, "Oh, it's looking too barren." Some people said it looks too tropical, and it's hard to balance that, because to every and each one of us, when we take a look at the old material, when we were, you know, wandering through the colony as a kid, the scenes made kind of we interpreted the scene or the scenery in a different way. So for in my case, for example, right, when I go through the canyon between the old camp and the new camp, it always felt to me like Mediterranean. I can't help myself, but it feels like that. Just with the sound design, with those birds, with, you know, the ambience, with the colors and all that. To me, the Valley of Mines, for the most part, looks like a kind of a hot place, right? We know there's colder places inside the colony, you know, New Camp, they wear furs and all that. But in general, like the Central Plains and especially like the swamp, that's warmer climate to me, pretty much. Slivers. We all have our personal lives to take care of first. We so wish we could just do this full time, but at times it's not so easy. Yeah, definitely. There's, you know, real life and stuff. I think there will be several settings that will satisfy all target audiences regarding color saturation. It's already partially possible in the demo. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you have the options, look, I'm all up for options. This is all I'm saying, you know, if you've got options for gameplay and options how you can shape the game to your liking, that's always great, definitely. If you like it a little more colorful, you know, turn up the saturation or whatever. But again, what I wanted to say, you know, when you walk into the colony and all that, it looks so barren to me. People might have a different opinion about that, but it looks barren. It looks dry in certain places. It looks kind of warm, kind of like late summer. You look at the sky and, you know, you get the feeling as well. And I think they kind of made the right choice. I mean, it also depends, you know, on the modability of this game. If it will be easy to access, because if it will be, and I'm sorry, but they wouldn't be really, they would shoot themselves in the foot if they don't give a mod kit for the people, you know, because mods kept the original alive for such a long time. And if we have mods, you know, there will be mods for everything, right? For the weather, for textures and all that kind of shit, going more into the original art style or whatever. New armors, you know, there's armor patches for Gothic 1, Gothic 3, Gothic 2 obviously too. And I hope that will be something as well. Chat. Okay. Slivers. When we talk about the world of Gothic, I had a feeling that the original creators wanted to make a bigger map when the game came out, but the tech limitations didn't allow them, that's why. Yeah, sure, okay. You have a tropic kind area, the mountains, the Mediterranean, a bit deserty, and even forest. Yeah, it's very versatile, you know, but the general feeling when you're on the plains, that's what I meant. Hit the like, boys. Yeah, hit the like, boys. Thanks, y'all. I cannot hit the like button more than one. Oh, okay. They have announced that it will be moddable. Like, is this a definitive thing they said? Because to me, it sounded like they need some time with that. I mean, I'm totally cool with that. Mod support day one, I feel that's kind of unlikely. But if they let us play the game, half a year later, they give us mod support, here's the mod kit, have fun. Great. I'm already getting into Unreal Engine to be prepared for modding. You are doing the Lord's work. Definitely do that. And keep us posted, man.
To work on the Gothic projects after the playable teaser. I mean, one thing that was very clear, like, we
Landros, greetings.
need to get this more dark and gritty and depressing atmosphere. It's a prison colony after all, so it shouldn't have like this bluish, bright, overcast, lush tone. But like for Gothic 1, we needed to have it like very, with a very specific look also to convey this atmosphere. There was also some new techniques coming in, because we started the Gothic 1 remake in Unreal 4 and we converted, I guess it was after a year and a half, to Unreal 5, which brought this new light system, Lumen, in there. And Lumen works in a specific way. It's a system to do global illumination for like in real time. And it's a very powerful system, but it also brings some restrictions in order to work really well. So we had to like make actually that the global animation works. We had to make certain spots brighter than what we actually wanted it to do, and what is good maybe for the art style of the game.
All of the creatures that have been redesigned has been with the original vision in mind. So we try to make homage and try to understand what the original creators were trying to do.
Oh boy, look at that. I'm sorry, I don't know where to stop. I think I just leave it now, and we're talking about all the individual shots later on.
For example, with the scavenger, there's a typical classical creature in the world of Gothic, no? We took the original scavenger, we analyzed it, we understood what they were trying to say, what type of animal it should be, and we reinforced and we enhanced the main traits, the traits that we decided were the main traits. And people at the beginning were reacting like, okay, it's similar, but it feels different. But when they saw moving and they understood the way the creature worked and the way the creature was moving and reacting into the living world, they understood that essentially we're talking about the same creature. It's behaving like expected. And then the artistic decisions took on the shape, on the colors, and everything made sense.
We have tried to be really faithful to the original, yeah. But we always wanted, we also wanted to give something from our point of view, or our own experiences, our own tastes, and our own, I don't know, from ourselves, you know. And I think people should also have in mind that we are creatives and we want to give something from ourselves. So maybe expect some, you know, some deviations from minor things.
I think we assembled an amazing team of artists, an amazing team that sees the challenges as an opportunity to grow and to learn something and to, you know, raise the bar again and again. And for me, this is it was an incredible experience to come here every day to work with them. It's been an interesting challenge, and I cannot wait to the players to play our game and explore the world that we craft. And hopefully they will see, we will awake some memories of Gothic 1, and they will recognize places and environments and characters.
Oh boy, okay, there was a lot to talk about. Make it darker. What? Okay, I will turn down the volume now. We go back to the start, and there were some pretty interesting shots. Jesus Christ. So yeah, art vision. We were kind of talking about art some videos ago, but I think it's really hard to hammer that down for the OG fanboys. They're also talking of, you know, putting their own influences into the game. Like, sure, I mean, in the frame of it all, you're allowed to do that, you know, but it needs to fit, right? But watching them, hearing them talk, I think they go into the whole scenario with enough respect to not do something completely out of line that is completely unheard of in the Gothic universe, you know. But in the end, artists, you know, you want to put your own little spin on things. I get that. I completely get that. And in terms of, you know, like monster design and all that, there is enough room for improvement, let's be honest, right? And I already saw a few things in this video, damn, where I'm like, yes. Okay. Sliver says, I have a feeling the characters would be the hardest to recognize if there wouldn't be names above their heads. Yes. But that's also true for Gothic 1 and 2, the original, because you had limited amounts of faces and hairstyles and all that. So some characters really look like others. Remember the iceberg that we did? There was one entry which was like, oh, is Gomez actually alive in Gothic 2? And he's the merchant across from Bosper. I forgot his name. Oh my god, I forgot his name. So they just share a lot of, you know, faces and all that. I think now with the remake, they have way more technological advancements to make the prominent NPCs stand out more. And they were talking about this some episodes ago, that like the A-list characters, they are very unique when it comes to their outer appearance. And I think that's a good thing. Definitely. Matteo, yeah, exactly. Oh, let me check that. And about Korangar, Timur confirmed that he will get his facial scar and bad eye. Like, yeah, sure. I mean, I hope so. They share a mother, yeah, probably. That's a beautiful shot, man. Dude, one thing that's in my mind all the time when making videos and thinking about that, I really hope that there will be, you know, like tools for content creators to freely move around with the camera and to have the option to make some cinematic shots. I hope that's in the game. I hope that's baked into Marvin mode. Dude, that looks so good. Okay, here we get started. So right at the start, we had some incredible shots, actually. That's such a cool shot. Almost every shot, man. Every shot you can screenshot it and put it as your wallpaper. Make it your wallpaper and don't be sorry ever again because it looks so good. Oh yeah, again, this is a new camp, obviously. Guys training. To the left is the tunnel that leads to the new mine, the hollow. And oh, is that Bartholo? Is that should be him, right? Looking at the regal ropes and playing the lute. Obviously, that's Bartholo. He's got the riz, brother. He's looking damn fine. Okay, where is that? Where's that? Somewhere in the swamp camp, right? Dude, it's so good that they put like palm trees on the beaches to give you that beach feeling. That's so good. Are these is there swamp weed to the left and to the right? I hope so, right? That's looking good. Also, we know that the area in the swamp gets more buildings. There was a map that was leaked. Not really leaked, but they were digging in the game files, and it showed like a bigger building in the west of the swamp, I think. And that area was completely empty, beside one hut. Yeah, one hut. Exactly, Slivers. That's what I was saying. Okay, we gotta go back a little bit. We gotta go back. This is, that's definitely Cavalorn's hut, isn't it? That's Cavalorn's hut, I think. And that must be the inside of Zardis' old tower? Or... You know what that could be as well? That could be the broken The broken cliffside, the ruins, there is one big circular tower. Could be this one as well. The monastery. Not the sunken tower. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Because the sunken tower has some multiple levels. This is a nice shot. The first depiction of Innos. We actually never saw some type of icon or, you know, similitude of Innos in Gothic 1, I think. No, we haven't. But I like this. The flaming beard. Looking good. Looking good. Where's he at? Oh, you know what this? Only on statues, yeah, but not in Gothic 1. We didn't have Inno statues in Gothic 1. I don't think so. Show me proof, brother. I don't think so. This is the camp where Grim takes you to beat you up, I think. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's Gothic 2 content, man. Okay, this is the shot that I was waiting for. I gotta look at that. That is a biter. So, dude, the biters they kind of looked funny in Gothic 1. They came from some of the very early artworks where they looked even more strange. I think we saw them when we were talking about the Gothic archives, and it was one of the very early artworks. They had a freakingly big mouth, and this is how they interpreted the biters, and I think they've done a really good job. They still have this huge, massive jaw and this row of teeth around their bulbous head, and take a look at the man, the guard looking lying under the creature. They are fairly large. What I don't really see, I'm wondering, they don't seem to have it. So what? Or maybe, I'm not sure. So when you take a look at the biters in Gothic 1 and you zoom in onto their face, they have like a leather straps across their face, and it kind of looks like a leather harness on their face. Something like, I don't know the English word right now. What horses have, right? Which is crazy, you know. It has some certain implications if they were used by the orcs or something, but it seems like they got rid of it. I don't know. Yeah, obviously this is the big waterfall leading down to the swamp camp. Yeah, exactly, right? They were pretty small. They were the size of I want to say scavengers, because they also used some of the animations. So this is in the swamp, and I think that might be that building that I was talking about earlier. I think it's kind of far off the main camp, more into the western swamps. And I'm very curious about the function of this building. Because if we take a look, does that look like there's people around here? Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah, okay. There's torches and all that. Yeah, it does, right? It does look like that. Christoph, greetings, brother. Thanks for joining. Okay, this is cool. Leatherworking. Obviously, this kind of stuff was missing back in the day, but really having people doing something more than standing around and drinking, you know, having some kind of professions, and going about their daily lives to assign, you know, when they're doing their professions. And that makes me kind of wonder, can we interact with these things as well? Like kind of refining our hides that we take from animals? I don't know. Okay, that's definitely Zardis' Sunken Tower. Take a look at that. There's like this huge, I don't know what it is, like ball of all sorts of skeletal remains seemingly chained to the ceiling. Damn. But we haven't seen zombies yet. I hope that they will have a similar death sound like the original zombies. That one always freaked me out. Again, you know, the skeleton mage. I really like the old model where it was pretty simple, but I can get where they're coming from. Oh, are you sure? This is the fog tower? Are you sure, Christoph? I'm not very sure about that. I think, to me, it looks more like Zardis' tower. You see, to the right, there is like a magical barrier. I don't think you will find that under the fog tower. That looks too magical for me. But I don't know, I could be wrong as well. Now, there we go. The influences of Gothic 3, man. Maybe entirely new, yeah. So, this is actually my biggest criticism. They should really overthink how they approach Gothic 3, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly, Christoph. That is my stance. I made it clear over the past, you know, years. I have talked about this stuff ad nausea. I think there were horrible decisions made with Gothic 3, and to say we gotta honor them just because they're canon in every single way, you know, like how they look, what the story and the plot behind them is. I don't think this is the right way. Be influenced by Gothic 3, but bring it more in line with the original version of Gothic, thematically and atmospheric, in an atmospheric way. Goodbye, heldenloser Name. Have a good night. So I hope that they overthink this, because, you know, while Gothic was a departure from Gothic 2 was a departure from Gothic 1, Gothic 3 was even more of a departure from Gothic 2, you know, and so it's this discrepancy that's just, it's like a huge rift between the games, and you need what I think what should be priority number one. I mean, okay, gameplay should be fine, but that there is visual continuity. This visual continuity should be seen in every single game, you know. And when I take a look at the Scavenger, for example, without even the remake, I cannot see a Scavenger. I'm sorry. It looks weird. It doesn't have the bony skeletal appearance on the head. It looks like something completely different. And I think that's what they were going for during Gothic 3 to make it more accessible, but I think that was just the wrong thing to do. Please don't repeat that mistake. Stay true to the roots. Take the original vision. Have some variation, sure, but this Gothic 3 is a horrible game. It was a child of its times, yeah. Yeah, obviously you're right, obviously. At the same time, you know, we all know it never had the time that it deserved because of the publisher. But you cannot excuse the choices they made. we can talk about, you know, what could have been all day long, but in the end we've got this product which is Gothic 3, and it's lacking in several departments all over the place. Maybe not the music. Maybe not the music. This shot is really good. This shot is so good. We got this one from another angle. So this is basically below the fog tower, where you find the shipwrecks. There was only one shipwreck, right? So that's like, you know, Gothic 1 gives you so much room to improvise and to fulfill the vision. They had this one little shipwreck on the beach, and now you interpret it into the modern days, and you can say, you know, it's like a graveyard full of ships. And we also saw the hero diving to these shipwrecks in the last making of video, I think, which is going to be super cool. I hope we find some booty. I think we will. And what's way more interesting, in my opinion, is the left side. If you take a look at those big ass cliffs, that's, you know, that's behind the barrier. Dude, I hope we see those cliffs in a potential remake of Gothic 2. That's kind of like I imagine it could be like a highland. Kind of moderate vegetation. Somewhere on, let me just figure it out. Somewhere on the eastern side of Corinus, actually. Where is that? Where is that? East side of Corinus. It's just in the game, in Gothic 2, it's just a huge ass mountainous area. Time to expand, man. Time to expand. Oh, brother. Okay, we saw a similar shot of that. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, this is the one screenshot that I saw that spoiled me. I wish I didn't see it. But that is Scar. That is Scar, baby. Let me collect myself. I think there is somebody working at Alchemia who also worked on Archolos, which is great. And in my opinion, Archolos is such a good project that in my headcanon, it's definitely worth to be officially part of the story. Obviously, you have people who are not, you know, in the same of the same opinion. I get that, sure. But I just think Archolos was such a project of love for the series, especially for Gothic 1 and 2. And all the effort that was put into it. To me, this seems that it kind of came to fruition. Because if you take a look at Scar in the OG, he looks very different. When you take the model from Archolos and you compare it to Scar, you see where they're coming from, right? But this here, this here is so much closer to the person that we are playing as in Archolos. And I think that has vast implications. I'm just saying it, right? So, look, this is going to be a spoiler video, you know, if you don't want to get spoiled about Archolos or whatever, but it's been fucking years. You should have played it by now. I'm just spouting my thoughts right now. If you don't want to hear anything about Archolos, please go away. Go away. But he looks very much like Marvin. Very, very much. He still has this youthful appearance, somewhat. I wonder why they did that. Maybe to give you even more the impression that, hey, I saw this guy in Archolos, right? I kind of wish they made him a little more, just a tiny little more like the Scar that we know from the OG, just to see how the colony and the stress and everything wore him down over the years, you know, with a more of a withered face, with a more mature face, because he pretty much still looks kind of youngish to me. We obviously, do we know how old he is, Marvin, in Archolos? Early 20s? I don't know. Are you talking to me, Slivers? Yeah, I finished it. I know that Marvin becomes Scar, definitely. But just from a visual perspective, that's what I was saying, you know, if you compare Scar to Marvin, both the models and the old engine, you can see where they were coming from. They wanted to make Scar, you know, Scar is kind of a big, heavy guy, right? That's how he looks like, and he's got a broad face. And his version in Archolos looks very much youthful, you know, where you're more slim, you don't have such a defined, you don't have like this imposing presence, obviously, because, well, we make Marvin to the person that becomes Scar. You know, we take him on these adventures. That's when he's growing muscles and all that kind of stuff. When he gets the Scar, so I just for the remake, I would have liked some more visual evolution, because this guy looks pretty much like the Marvin that we left. What you know, he looks like the Marvin that left Archolos after all those years, and there should be more maturity in his appearance. But this is just a minor nitpick. 1820, okay, but old engine Scar looks way better. He's bulky and ripped. Scar went through a lot, yeah. I really like what they did with him in New Balance, even though it's not canon. I cannot comment on this. But yeah. I really think he should be a little more, you know, kind of bulkier. He's got this, I don't want to say bloated face, because that wouldn't do it justice. He's got the strong ass jaw, you know, in the original. I wish they would age him a little up. Even though it's just, if it's not that long of a time period that has passed since Archolos, just as I said, you know, the colony wears you down, because, you know, he arrived just like Gomez as a prisoner, and then the whole riots happened, and they probably worked a few years, I don't know, under harsh conditions, and that wears you down, brother. And that makes you look older. 35? Yeah, it depends. Like, the timeline is not very clear. I don't know. Let's go on. It's huge, actually. I mean, seeing him right now, I could probably see us in the game finding, you know, like a map, like an old weathered map where we can find like Londram and Archolos, you know, on a map or something. That would be cool. Really cool. So, where is this? I'm sorry, I gotta go back. Where is this? Kind of looks like a mine. But that's definitely... Oh, that's definitely an orc, right? I don't know, man. I don't wanna, you know, be too hyped. But, you know, an underground place with orcs can only be the Sleeper Temple or the Orc Graveyard, or I don't want to go that far to say it's a full-blown underground Orc City. No, I don't want to say this. That would be too much. They don't do that. I really wish they would do that, but let's be realistic here. That might be just a hovel next to the Sleeper Temple. Yeah, brother, City of Orcs. I really wish for that. The old layout of those caves and all that, man. I'm sorry, Slivers, but I think Christoph is right. This is... I don't know. This is Orc Graveyard, you know, like some abandoned shaft, some abandoned edit, like an alcove or something in the Orc Cemetery, or it's just because under the right in front of the Sleeper Temple, the Orc Enclave, right? That's how it's called. Originally, there were small caves with orcs in them, so that could be that as well. I don't know. We need an Orc City. Yes, that's what I'm saying, brother. How about this? Here we go. Okay, that was a Lurker. Pay €4 extra for DLC, the City of Orcs. Dude, I would pay 8. I buy 2. Definitely. So this is a Lurker. We saw that in the last making of, I think, or in the last promotional material. Now it's kind of laying down. A Lurker is pretty hard to bring to modern times. If I would be an artist, you know, and you give me the old Lurker and say modernize it, because I like Lurkers. I think they're horrifying. There is this one guy in Gothic 2 in the cave, Curvo, I think, and he's in the cave, and there is all those Lurkers surrounding the cave, and he's an escaped convict from the mining operations in Gothic 2, you know, and you're like, yeah, why don't you leave? And he's like, there's all those Lurkers around. I can hear them making those noises, you know. And to be fair, they're amphibious, big fucking creatures that prey on basically everything. They are creepy as fuck, but they kind of look a little dumb with the limitations they had back in the day. They have these huge claws, but they have this very cylindrical face. And now they're going a different route, and I think they also took inspiration from the Swamp Lurkers and Gothic 3. And I think, see, that is not such a bad decision in my opinion, where they have this almost frog-like bulbous throat. I don't know how to call this, but it has a very distinct appearance. I think that's quite good. That's quite good. Dude, I would like to see more monsters of different types, you know, like an old scavenger, like a young scavenger, like, I don't know, you know, you've got a swamp lurker, you've got a regular lurker, you've got, I don't know, maybe a desert lurker. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you know what I'm saying, right? But they also have these weird appendages dangling from their mouth. Donovan, yeah, welcome. You're absolutely right. We will see about swamp sharks, I think, in a bit. Yeah, of course, you're right. I don't think it's a... No, that's a lurker. That's a lurker. That's definitely a lurker. We will see lizards later on, actually. That is the new design of the lurker. I kind of like it. I hope they have a similar sound design, because that was cold-blooded, man. Yeah, Adrian, you're right. Gothic 3 in general, it was a pain to fight. Dude, this is so good. This is so good. Okay, here's one of the money shots. Let's take a look. Look how they expanded this whole region. Let me just get back to the original shot. Take a look at the arch in the background, right? And you can see where the rice fields start. They pushed this area way back to the side. That's crazy. So, once again, we have huge changes. This was, I don't know. In my headcanon, this was like the fishing area of the new camp. Maybe, probably, I don't know. And it had originally like 2 huts right here, and they were completely, almost completely sunken into the lake. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings, and one of those buildings is huge. It's huge. Take a look at that. It's crazy. And I'm wondering, you know, what's going on here? I'm really wondering what's going on here. That looks absolutely beautiful. I like it. Also, the color palette, you know, that's what they were talking about, you know, when it's less saturated and all that kind of stuff. I feel that. I feel this screenshot. I really liked it. Like the transition. I like that too. Are we still on? Oh boy. Yeah, the drug den was right next to it. So this is also amazing. And it's kind of confirmation that in one of my speculation videos, I thought that this tower was maybe made by humans, but then I decided against it because it has this crude architecture. And now it's pretty much confirmed that this is orcish architecture. Also, this area, oh god, I gotta go back, massively enlarged. Take a look at that. It all got pushed back into the south. Pretty amazing. Awesome. It's hard to make out details. Slivers and I, we talked a little bit about this one video that came out. We talked a little bit about Zardis' tower. And I was like, you know, it's a little bit too spiky. It's a little bit too edgy. And what I don't really like too much is like the lava flow. But I get where they're coming from. Zardis is guarded by the golems of the elements, right? In this very narrow pathway. And now they say, okay, we give those golems room to breathe in their own habitat. So you follow the magma, the lava, I'm sorry. The fiery stuff, right? The flow of the fire, you follow it, you probably will get to a cave. There's the golem. Later on we will see a ice golem in an ice cave, so naturally that's where we go and find the golem heart. Probably golem's gonna be like in Gothic 1 Othello? I don't know, man. I've never played that. That looks good. Ah, here we go. This is such a cool area, right, in the OG, and we never really knew what it was about. Is it actually an arena? What is it? Is it a place of rituals? We don't know. And now take a look at this. Damn, son. Well, that's a glow up that's completely necessary. This is so good. This is amazing. You got 2 levels to explore? Yeah, that's bonkers, man. Okay. I've never played that modification. Don't know about that. Yeah, so here we're talking about the artworks. I paused. I think I will just rush through it a little bit. I really like those new artworks, actually. Take a look at those gargoyles. Looking rad. You know what I wish for seeing this? Hear me out, boys. So, we are now at the precipice of restart. The devs are restarting this new... This remake, right? They are rebooting the whole franchise. You know what I would love to see? Some complementary material. Like... Hey, why not comics? Like, they started with a comic back in the day. Why not give us more comics about this world? It's like little stories or PDFs, I don't know. But comics, like physical comics, that would be great. Telling stories about the colony here and there, just some additional canonical material to indulge. That would be so cool. No Amazon Gothic short. Also no Netflix, nothing like that. Please keep it simple. I'm not trusting anything that comes out of modern day movie making. Seldomly there is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, maybe that, but you know, that's what I would do. Here we go. Orc City, all in. Ah, it's Brian. Hagen. That looks so good. I really like those statues. It's like landmarks, Grabsteine, it's like headstones. And this is that's not the fog tower, is it? Probably the first iteration of it. Here is it. Here it is. Okay. Here's the fog tower with the gong. Yeah, I was talking about that. Slivers, we were talking about that in the iceberg video. There's the Rise Lord. I don't know, Zeph. I don't know. We all hope it will be good. Fuck tower. Okay. Thoris? The Thoris? Here they are. Please behold the Orc City. 3 huts and some drums with 1 fire. Oh, I'm so glad they changed this. Some more stuff. Dude, I really like this. I do love this style. Oh yeah, this is where they talk about realism, right? So, in my opinion, they never wanted to make a stylized video game. In my opinion, they wanted to do something pretty realistic. But due to the limitations, due to the engine, due to the texture limitations, it all turned out, you know, with a modern view on things, it seems like it's stylized in a comic way. This is also some iconography that I wish they would bring back. You know, when we're talking about the swamp camp down here, you've got these kind of big ass statues, these monoliths with this eye, like the third eye. You know, that sees everything, that sees your wife cheating on you. Oh boy. Let me check the chat real quick. Okay, nothing. Dude, I played Gothic in 2001 and was one of the most realistic games with a real living world. I mean, sure, yes, yeah, I mean, yes. I remember when Gothic, I think it was out like a few months. Rarely people could play it because it was so demanding. And when you were in the game and you would, you know, take the view distance and you would, you know, go all in, you're like, whoa, what the fuck is that? You know, you could see not as much as with the renderer, you know, because with that mod you can see basically the whole valley. But even with the limitations back then, you were like, damn, that's looking good. Obviously, sure, games rapidly evolved. I mean, Gothic 1 was 2001, right? Just 3 years later, you had like Fear, I think, Doom 3 and Half-Life 2. A massive jump. But back in 2001, where it was one of the first 3D open world RPGs, cut it some slack, man. That was phenomenal, actually. Yeah, of course, the big bad forest, man. And it's the forest is actually kind of funny because everybody tells you don't go into the forest, and you expect something like that rips you apart. And to be fair, at the very start of the game, you shouldn't go there. But now, at least the first forest that you encounter between the old camp and the old mine, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You should worry about the other one because there's orc dogs. Oh god. Yeah. Look at that. That's not Gothic. Miss me with that shit. But I gotta say, this is what I actually liked. There's some scenes, like I said earlier, when it's night, you're in Varan, you're in those ruins. There was a certain atmosphere created by, the sounds and the soundtrack and all that. And I pretty much, there are certain small portions of Gothic 3 that I do like. And I think that Alchemia should also take a look at Gothic 3 and get inspired by it. But to say Gothic 3 as it exists should be taken so seriously. After all, we know what happened, with a development that was completely rushed. And it was released in a very, very unfinished state. We shouldn't do that. Right? I would say take Gothic 3 as a very rough outline of where you want to go. A battle between orcs and humans. And I would rethink the whole systems that were implemented. Like, there is no guilds and stuff like that. That was shit. That was completely shit. Let's be honest here. Joining a guild in Gothic 1 and Gothic 2 is one of the highlights of the game, because for the first time, you open up so many new pathways in the game because you get a piece of armor, because you get access to magics, for example. That was the best thing, the initiation into a guild. And I think Chronicles of Myrtana did a very good job at that. It's been a while since I played Archolos, but once you join one of the two guilds, you get this whole, hey, you're part of us now, and you have some drinks with your boys and all that. I really like that, and I wish there was more like this in the remake. But again, getting rid of guilds was one of the many, many bad decisions in Gothic 3. A reputation system? Like, is this World of Warcraft? I like World of Warcraft for what it is, but World of Warcraft is a completely different beast. It's an MMO. That's where you grind, where you cannot just do one quest and be part of the whole group. No. It's grindy. That's the nature of an MMO. I'm sorry to say that, but that's how it is. And a single player game like Gothic should handle these things very, very differently. And on top of that, I hate that you had the option to join the orcs. I hate that. I really hate that. I like more insights into the orcish culture, but in my book, there should also be orcs that are not part of the main army, like a subgroup of orcs like Tarok and Orshak that are kind of exiled among their kin, and you're kind of neutral, kind of friendly with them. That's when you get to know about certain details of the story behind them and the culture. That's what I like to see. But joining the orcs, you know that the orcs were fighting against the kingdom since Gothic 1. You kill many, many orcs in Gothic 2. There is no sense in joining them. It's just the Piranha Bytes team thought, oh, we gotta have the options. But storytelling suffers. It makes it unbelievable. Why am I fighting against these guys for the better part of the storyline just to join them in the end? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Sometimes, there are so many choices that you can possibly make in an RPG, but sometimes it's not, I think, the best design decision to pinpoint or to give you all the freedom when it comes to the main storyline. You should have a direction. Joining the orcs, like, what's going on? Yeah, exactly. Realism was a better Gothic 3 than Gothic 3. Yes. Like, here we have it, right? You take a look at this. By now it has aged, yeah, sure. You take a look at this scenery. It's nice, it's cool. But is it Gothic? In my opinion, it's not. Because next you see, like, look how bright everything is. Look how everything moves in the wind way too excessively. This is Gothic. There is less saturation, more shadows. It's darker. Gothic to me is a dark fantasy RPG. Does that look like dark fantasy? No, it doesn't look like dark fantasy. And that's the question, you know. I wanna quote him here right now. Let's listen to that.
Just disappear as the barrier disappears. Disappear as the barrier disappears. One of the most interesting parts is when you play Gothic 2 and you discover that all of this dark aesthetic just disappear as the barrier disappears. And now the game outside the colony, outside the barrier, is actually vibrant and full of life. And
I don't think that's a good thing. I mean, you're kind of betraying the franchise, in my opinion. To a certain degree, making it more vibrant, more full of life, compared to the colony. Okay, I'm on board with that. It makes sense, because you're in a penal colony. You go outside, the barrier disappears, and suddenly you're in Corinus. You've got civilized people. You have rules, you have laws, and all that kind of stuff. But still, it's a fucked up situation, because remember, and this is it's a whole, oh man, I could open a can of worms right now, but apparently, you know, because the ore trade has diminished and there is no trade incoming, the city of Corinus has become slop. You've got slums in the harbor, you've got corrupt noblemen who, due to a lack of proper work, have to resort to criminal actions. The city is in decline. In my opinion, there should be way more time between, you know, the barrier falling and you waking up and Corinus being in that state. But that's a whole different story. It is different, but it should still retain these themes and aesthetics. Dude, I want, if I would remake like Gothic 2, I would put more influences of the orcs on the main island. Like, not everywhere, but some forgotten alcove, some forgotten crypt with orcish texts or whatever. Some more of that occult nature. I'm always wondering, you know, you've got the swamp camp. Where did they get the idea from to build their houses like that? Where did they get the idea from to dress like that? Did they just came up with it? Was it just, you know, suddenly in their minds and they operated on these things? In my headcanon, they have these influences from somewhere. It doesn't need to be on Corinus, you know, but it's just these things are somewhere in the world of Gothic. Damn. In my opinion, this wasn't a wise decision to tone shift so much from Gothic 1 to Gothic 2. Yes. I mean, Valley of Mines in Gothic 2 is grim and dark. Yes, even more so. Vibrant. For every 2 steps forward, they make a step back, and it angers me so much. Yeah, I think the mindset needs to be adjusted like a tiny bit, you know. Adrian says, vibrant, unoriginal, lol, because Gothic 3 removed many aesthetic elements from older games. Exactly. Exactly, even in Gothic 2, the Valley of Mines is gray and cloudy. Hey, Vertigo, I'm late again. It's good, brother. You can rewatch that stream, I think. In my honest opinion, one wasted opportunity in Gothic 2 was the food crisis. Everyone speaks about it and boom, food everywhere. Yes. Yes. There is even a quest, you know, when you want to be part of the new camp, Onar's farm, when you want to be part of the mercenaries, you know, you gotta fight off, or you can fight off some militia guys who are robbing the farmers in the periphery, because there is a lack of food there, right? Corinus is in a state of crisis. We should not forget that. But that is, I mean, there is a tonal shift, obviously, because it would be also boring because you expect something else, right? But if you get rid of all these dark magics and sacrifices and weird ass buildings, also like the architecture from the new camp, you know. To me, it's hard to believe that all these things just were created inside the barrier. It's hard to believe. I wish Gothic 3 would have a civilization that is akin to the Brotherhood of the Sleeper in terms of visual, in terms of visuals. So you have a visual continuity that you can see throughout the games. Maybe there is a place. Let's just fantasize for a little bit. Maybe in a new Gothic 3, in a new Murtana, there are actually swamps between Murtana Midlands and Varant, right? And in these swamps, there do live people that have kind of the same architecture like the people from the sect camp. That doesn't mean they are the people from the sect camp, but they have similar clothing. They have similar, I don't know, similar architecture. That would make sense in my head. Another problem that I have with Gothic 3, that this visual continuity, we are shitting so much on Gothic 3, like we are barely talking about this video, I'm sorry. A long time ago, I probably should get back to work on it. I started making a script about that, but I'm just saying this, you know, the visual continuity is almost non-existent in the Gothic franchise, and this is a huge downside. We see some weapons that we saw in Gothic 1 and Gothic 2, right? Some weapon models, and you're like, damn, I know this model. That's cool. Damn, I know this armor. That is cool. You know, that's the nostalgia. Damn, I know this person that I saw in the colony, you know? And it fills you with a great feeling just because you remember things, and you need that. You need that. And it's not just due to nostalgia hitting you hard. It's also world building, which is necessary. Let's move on. They went from some interesting design of Gothic 1 to pseudo Aztec design in Gothic 2 to generic God knows what in Gothic 3. They could make more ruins around at least. Yes, yes. Christoph, I don't really mind the whole storyline of Jarkandar. Oh, fuck. I don't really mind it. I don't mind that there was an old-ass civilization, but it needs to be hinted at even in Gothic 1, because if this is an old civilization, they have built their shit apparently in Corinus. We saw the Stonehenges, they're from this culture. We see the pyramid in the mainland of Corinus. Why didn't they go to the Valley of Mines? And I speculated about that in one video that where I said, you know, some of the architecture in the Gothic remake in the Valley of Mines kind of reminds me of, you know, this lost civilization of Jarkandar. But that has yet to be seen and or confirmed.
This changed the mood completely of the game. No, this evolution in the games, I think it's pretty smart for the age.
And this is another argument that I would say is not really speaking for Gothic. if the mood changes so drastically in a franchise, I think it lacks coherence. Take Star Wars, for example, you know, you build up that mood in part 1, you know, and then it gets carried over into the second part, Empire Strikes Back. It adds on top of that, but it still carries the original spirit. And then with part 3, they made some dumb decisions, like the fucking Ewoks on Endor, which wasn't so great. But the main part of the movie still carried this spirit over, you know? And I think a lot of franchises nowadays are suffering from this. Because they think the original vision is lame, we gotta modernize it too much. Like, I'm okay if you put your own influence into the games, but after all those years, you should be able to analyze what's going on in those games. And a lot of YouTubers did that. A lot of threads and forums and all that kind of stuff. They were talking about this ad nausea over the years. They analyzed this, and it's basically what I say. You know, if you cannot stray too far from the original formula. New stuff, yeah, but under the umbrella that you built in the original Gothic. That's what it is. See you, Christoph.
And I think this is something that
Okay, let's go on.
also try to respect that maximum.
When we talk about people and
Yeah, you're right. They never thought that far. Okay, here is the cave with the frost golem. Looks pretty good. You know, seeing all the lights, you know, emitted from the fiery region and all that, I think it takes away a little. It takes away a little from this ominous nature of Zardis' tower and its surroundings. In the original, you had the tower on top of this cliff, and under it was just like a little pond. You could even find some swamp weed there. It was very simple. And I think the new design takes a little bit of away from this isolated feeling that you had in Gothic 1. You know, once you step into this area for the first time. Exactly, man. Exactly. Fans can, you know, we have the time to analyze that. And obviously, we fans, we are wrong too, you know. But there is so much stuff to sift through, to analyze, and then to come to a somewhat satisfying conclusion that doesn't, again, take the original and completely rips it apart. Yeah, I guess so, slivers. I guess it should look alien. It should look like, you know, he's in control of the elements and all that kind of stuff. But I like the vision more that it's just, you know, an ominous fucking tower on a cliff. You're like, whoa. You know? It's reminding me a little bit of the too epic visual storytelling that you find in many movies nowadays, where it's just like visual clutter everywhere, and you need those sparkly CGI things flowing at you so that your fucking lizard brain gets activated and you release some kind of serotonin. But that's not that, you know, maybe you like it, maybe other people like it, but that's not what I want. And it's taking too many liberties when it comes to the original location. Yeah, I think so. It's overdone. You know, You could have hinted at something, like, we were talking about this. You know, you've got 3 separate locations for the golems, right? So what about the fire golem in front of his cave? There is just a trail of burnt bushes that are still, you know, there's still smoke coming up. Burnt trees, 1, 2 burnt trees. That tells you everything you need to know. This is where the fire is. This is where the fire golem is. That's his hideout. Then there is a small trail, and it's a little bit frosty. There's a little bit of snow on the ground. That's where the frost golem is, obviously. That's what I would have done. But it's like screaming, you know, like neon signs everywhere. It's like, fire golem is here, baby. Casting looks very, very cool. I wish we could have cast it in the Nyrus demo. It's also cool that you can freeze your opponent. That really opens up this battle mage playstyle. Looks pretty solid, actually. Yeah, exactly. Zardis' tower in Gothic 3 was sad, man. Oh yeah, here's the lizard. Here's the lizard. Okay, the paintings. I even recognize some of these paintings, man. Even though I'm not a big art guy. I really like them. That was the one that I saw that I really liked. Oh, this is also interesting. Where are we? What is this? It looks kind of like it could be in the swamp, but it doesn't really look swampy outside. I'm not sure about that. Or could that... I'm really not sure about this location. Maybe water mages, something? Not sure. It's one of the orc temples, okay. Orc arena, okay. Oh yeah, this is one of those pictures. One of those drawings. Wait a second. Yeah, I think I saw a video about those mega structures in art, and I saw this one. Really spoke to me. And here's the golden hour. Yeah, man, I dig that. I don't know. I don't know about that. Could be orcish, could be like Cleric Sunlight suggested, could be orcish, could also be sect, brotherhood, I don't know. But I could also see the water mages getting some love in terms of their own architecture. Like they had a little bit of their own architecture in Gothic 1 actually. If you take a look at their buildings, they're very, very distinct. They might expand on that. Oh, I love this shot, man. Sun is barely coming through. It's looking dusty and all that. I love those lanterns. Dude, that's so good. This is the new camp, yeah, definitely. This is the dam to the right side. Then it leads down the narrow path and you have the fortifications up here. And this is the tavern on the lake. I'm really excited about what they do to the lake, you know. Yeah, right? Antonio's right. That feels like Gothic, in my opinion. Also look at that. Damn. Look how the day, the daylight breaks over this arch. Damn, son. Busy people. And that is a fire mage. Dude, they are definitely living a life. Look at those paintings, man. Oh my god! Can you see that? We found it finally. Horses are confirmed. Look at that. And look at that painting. It's before the barrier. How it was, yeah, with the 2 towers and all that. Sexy, brother. Sexy. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, the mountain fortress, once again. They extended this area also quite a bit. Like this bit here, where you have this... Oh, what is the word? Balustrade? Jesus Christ, that's so good. Have you ever played Outcast? Dude, that tells me something, like it's ringing some bells, but I'm sure I've never played it. Maybe I've seen something. Horses are on the mainland, brother. For the longest part of me being a fan of Gothic, I was always struggling with the idea of horses. I don't know, man. Because it's kind of a conundrum, because it's weird in this fantasy setting to have no horses, but at the same time it would be very weird to have horses, but you cannot ride them, right? It's like a gamble. I think when it comes to Gothic 3, it's really, you know, a hit or miss. Sci-fi game. Okay. No. Maybe I've seen it in some older magazines, computer magazines. Yeah, I don't know, Slivers. I don't know about that. I mean, we saw... No. You know, I wouldn't care as much for, like, farm animals, like pigs and cows, like we had in Gothic 3. It just makes sense, in my opinion. I don't know. Once again, we gotta talk about the video, man. The stuff at hand. Look at this beauty of an armor. I really like this. I really like this. This is such a cool armor. I'm in love. By the way, is that Korangar? Was hard to make out. Oh, this looks also so good. Yeah, might be Korangar. I don't know. That looks good. Look at the bust. Okay. Boys and girls, what do you think? So, in my opinion, this is definitely water mages. First of all, blue color. You've got runes, sophisticated tables and stuff like that. That's no orc ruin. That's definitely water mages. And with that big floating thing, what is it called? A sensor? I don't want to look it up right now. Oh, but I will. Yeah.
Sensor.
Sensor. That you have in churches, where you put like herbs and all that kind of stuff in, burn it, and you got a good smelly vibe to it. That's definitely inside the new camp, water mages, definitely. Yeah, and this is, you know, you're absolutely right. They are from Varan, so we want to see some Varantian stuff, you know. And this is the world building that I'm talking about. We know they're from Varan, at least some of them, so they built their you know, their area in the image of what they remember from back in the day. Looks absolutely cool. So, okay, that is... Yeah, that's looking up from the sect camp. Oh, damn, that looks so good. Look at those gnarly trees and all that. Oh, brother. Ooh, okay. Damn, that's Zardis' tower, right? Yeah, definitely. Look at those plants, man. What are carnivorous plants? What are they called? I actually got some of those in my apartment. Pretty handy in the summertime. That's cool. Yeah, this is Zardis' abode. Is that a big ass bed? Like a king size bed? Man is living the life. Jesus Christ. Yeah, again, that was the tower that we saw earlier. I'm not sure where that is. You guys say it's not Zardis' old tower. What is it then? I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's Zardis' tower. Let's go back a little bit. This type of weird ornamental shit, like the interior design, I think we saw it in Zardis' library to an extent. This is like a proper tower, like the one that is standing. But the next shot, that part is not sunken, true. But if you remember, there was a shot of the outside of a sunken tower. It was partially sunken. They made it quite bigger. So it could be that, or, you know, the monastery. Zardis doing yoga, yeah, sure. Look at that. This is so good. Like, there's always a bigger fish. You see the fucking mole rat running away from a wolf, and there is a swamp shark chasing the wolf. That's Gothic, man. all encompassed in this classical art style painting. I really like it. Question is, where is that? You also got some hunting trophies over here, left side. Is that in the house of the Ore Barons? Could be, right? Oh boy, there we are. I missed this shot when we watched it the first time around. So a year or so back, maybe 2 years, I was wondering about a few redesigns, right? First and foremost, biters, we saw them earlier. I think they did a good job, actually. Then lurkers, I like the redesign too. And here we have the first glimpse at the bloodhounds. And I do love it as well. They still have this very lanky appearance. They like with the lurkers, they kind of looked a little bit goofy in Gothic 1. But here you have a proper mangled wolf-like creature that seems to be very fast on its legs. Look at that. Yeah, here we are. Oh boy. Bloodhounds. I like this. I like this very much. That's a solid design. Look how far his jaw opens, actually. Bloodhounds, you can find bloodhounds on this little plateau between the old citadel and the mountain fortress. That, in my opinion, that's a really underused creature. Just had an idea about the staircase we saw earlier. Could that be in the temple where the juvenile troll appears? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The cliffside monastery, where you search the focus stone with Goran. There you have like this circular tower-like structure in the original, and if you look up, there is even like a rectangular opening. So they plan that you can go actually climb up, but there's no stairs, and I think that could be it as well. Yeah, this is some good shit. Let's take a look. Its muscular build reveals both strength and high nutritional value. Strong roots and branches provide them with a natural armor that makes them resist weapon attacks. These are branches and roots? Dude, that's okay. Its legs gradually taper in muscularity, ending in 2 large imposing hooves. Which is also crazy, right? For a bird type of creature to have hooves. That's cool. That's cool. This species exhibits ontogenetic dimorphism with bony protrusions and horn-like structures developing only at full maturity. So it's bone as well. Damn, son, there is some thought put into that. And Diego is 180. Okay. I meant the old fortress. Oh, you mean like the citadel? Where you meet Orshak? No, that's not it. Cubone. Yeah, kinda. I mean, the scavenger design predates that, right? Oh no, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, did I read that right? So, at a younger age, they cover themselves with roots and branches, but once they mature, they have these bone-like protrusions that serve as some kind of natural armor. That's cool. Ah, yeah, Pokemon is pretty ancient, yeah. Ooh. Okay. This is so good. This is so fucking good. Dude, I don't even know what to say. This is so cool. Just by that shot, you know, if you would show that shot around like to somebody who likes Gothic, you know, I don't think you would make the connection to Gothic, but definitely. The organic nature of a hive of the mine crawlers is kind of hinted at. You know, you've got these tubular structures going through their nest, basically. I think it's kind of inspired by Alien, by the Alien hive in Aliens, the second part. It also reminds me a lot of Zerg from the StarCraft universe. I like it very much. You see that there are these fleshy things covering the walls, these micro tubes or whatever. And we actually seen that in Gothic 1 and 2, where you have these reddish webbed, these reddish webs around around areas where the mine crawlers actually do live, and this is like, you know, brought to the modern era. I very much like it. Yeah, the red color was even more red in the original. There's two types of webs when it comes to mine crawlers. You have like regular web that looks kind of like spider web, a little whitish, yellowish, and you can find that web everywhere where mine crawlers actually are. But the red web, I call it web because it looks like web in Gothic 1, in Gothic 2. But the red web, when you find that, you know you're close to some type of nest or a huge concentration of powerful mine crawlers. That's an indicator. Yeah, exactly. Yikes. Hey man, how you doing? Core part of the Gothic experience. Everything underground is a big part of Gothic, in my opinion. And again, that's one aspect that got left out over the time. Look how it moves. I always wondered what those tube things were. I always thought they were like a type of infrastructure. How they it's like a it's like a way of them traversing the caves, but seeing that now, it's like feeding tubes almost. I don't know. Yeah, that's the Tomb Raider influence. Same with the parkour mechanics, I'd reckon. And that influence slowly fizzed out too. Yeah. Slivers, thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Half-Life 3 Episode 2 did the right thing with a similar setting. Yeah, definitely. The hive of the the antlions. Exactly. Yeah, it's not very pretty, man. Okay, what are these creatures? Are these razors? Right. I think we saw razors before. Another orc. Long hair. Yeah, not looking bad. What's very interesting is this big ass skull. What is this? Some kind of mammoth? That's like a mammoth skull, right? Dude, imagine orcs having like mammoth mounts past the in the unknown lands past Nordmar, you know, on the mainland. That would be cool. Carrying their siege weapons and all that. Dude, what is this? What is this? You know what this could be? This could be yeah, this could be the location where you go focus hunting with Diego. It looks completely different, but we already saw a shot of that location, and I can see some things that are very similar. And now we're talking about something that I stated earlier with the culture of Yarkandar. And I think I see some influences of that culture here in the remake, in the Valley of Mines, which is important to set up this culture for, well, you know, for world building. I do like it. All those ornaments and all that, they strike me as architecture from Yarkandar, definitely. Sleeper Temple. Mm-hmm. Mountain Fortress, definitely. I look so beautiful. And here we are at the end. Okay. Toltec and Maya feeling, exactly. Exactly. I hope they don't retcon those cultish motifs and other shrines into Yarkanda though. Yeah, I mean, they're now building the world, and I'm pretty positive that we will see that in a potential future, definitely. Okay, that's it. So that was quite a long episode. I don't know. For how long are we running now? I don't even know where. 2 hours! Jesus Christ, okay. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. There is the THQ showcase in a few days. The 1st of the next month, 1st of August. I don't know yet if I can do a live stream. I would really like to do that, but I don't want to promise anything because the next day I really have to get up early. I've got something going on, some real life shit. But yeah, maybe we'll see. So thank you all for watching. It has been a great time. This was a great video, great insights. Many designs that I pretty much liked. Some designs where I'm still on the fence. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it actually. And if we're lucky enough, I think the THQ showcase will give us a date, a release date. That's very likely. And yeah, up until then, I wish you all a very good night and a nice weekend. Got Wednesday. Soon it will be time again. And you can also, yeah. Well, I lost my train of thought. Have a good one, guys. See you around. Bye-bye.